Could you maybe not break everything this time?
I'm not gonna promise that.
My brother has schizophrenia.
Help me find him.
Either they will kill you, or they will follow you here and kill all of us.
You don't see him?
We have to go.
It's sweet, really. They think they can save you.
Legion, all new next Wednesday at 10 on FX and FX Now.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Legion Episode 2 video. Just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. They're laying a lot of clues. I love the Cerebro look of the MRI machine. They're just tying this to the X-Men universe. So there's a new round of the X-Men Logan giveaway. It's for IMAX gift certificates. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment about Legion on this video. So here we go. The big thing that's going on here is unreliable narration. Like, you don't know when David is just talking to himself in his own head. Like, is he talking to other personalities of his? And when is he talking to real people? What is real and what is a memory? Like, you have that childhood book, the WTF memory, about him killing his mother. Obviously, his parents didn't read that to him as a child. That would be super WTF. So as we go through Top 10 and WTF, I'll try to explain when the show is giving you clues that David is talking to other personalities and they're not real memories. Like, they're not events that happened in real life. Like, some of these memories seem like ways of him interpreting what's going on inside his mind. They talk about mapping the labyrinth of his memories, which is almost impossible because he has 1,000 different personalities. So number 10, welcome to Summerland. Melanie Bird whisks him away to what seems like this mutant training facility where everybody has powers. You're also kind of wondering whether or not this is real because it seems so dreamlike, the way they give this introduction. Maybe it's a situation like episode 1 where he's in the mental institution looking at all these different people, but really it might just be him inside his own mind looking at his other personalities. So they just want you to question that. But right now I'm reading it as Melanie is an actual person who's trying to help him. But there are also moments where Sid does that, and Sid seems like one of his other personalities. Like, he has really evil personalities, like the angriest little boy, but he also has calming personalities that try to help him make sense of everything. So Melanie could be fake in the sense that she's not a real person, she's someone that David's mind conjured up. But she helps him control his abilities, sort of spells out the premise of the episode. You are a mutant, you are telekinetic, you have telepathic powers. So in the context of the series, David doesn't know anything about mutants, he doesn't know anything about his powers. It takes them a while through the episode before he revisits the outburst that he had in the kitchen during episode 1 that we saw, where everything is flying around, so we'll see him do that in more active ways. He did it at the end of the episode again too, when he used his telepathic powers to visit his sister. Number 9, the memory training, going back into his memories. Ptonomy, the memory artist, explains his powers. He has the ability to move through people's minds. He has telepathic powers too. That sort of explains the twist in episode 1, how Sid was talking to David inside one of his memories. They can't track us here. So that was probably Ptonomy that was helping put her in there. But again, it's another mind trip because you wonder at times if Ptonomy is real, because the way he snaps his fingers for David to wake him up is also the same way his sister snaps her fingers back in his memory. So the Museum of You gets this great explainer. You can talk to the memories, but it will change them, sort of like rewriting old files on a hard drive with new information. So number 8, the WTF childhood memory. This is like the terrible memory that he takes them back to at the end of the episode. They're really vague about it, but they make it sound based on that childhood rhyme, like he had a telepathic, telekinetic outburst, and it killed his mother, and he didn't really understand what happened, and that led to him slowly going crazier and crazier as he got older. The other thing that they're laying here, I love the way they do this, is they obscure his father's face, like he can't see it, so I think they're just trying to play up the idea of his father being Professor X. There's some language later on my WTF list where I'll explain that, where he talks about looking at the stars. Number 7 is David being the key to winning the war. So this is where you get into the larger context of the X-Men universe. This is why some of the people in the series are meant to be real and some are meant to be fake, but they don't want to explain who's fake and who's real right away. That's part of the mystery of the series and unraveling the nature of David's powers. So all that's important right now is that you think of Division 3, the group that's chasing him, the Eye, the villain of the series, as a Weapon X type program. They're the bad guys. They want to use him to win their side of the war in the emergence of all these mutants. Mutant Kind, the Brotherhood of Mutants, any group that works towards the benefit of mutant kind like the Hellfire Club, you can think of being on the other side of this. But they're also very ambiguous about that, because it seems like the series takes place around First Class, Days of Future Past, but the elevator has voice-activated controls at the end, so they're just messing with your head, making you wonder what's real, what time period are we in. It's meant to be very ambiguous in that way. Number 6 is Sid remembering killing Lenny. She's like, oops, sorry I did that. I think I killed your friend. And they explain the twist with how Sid came to be working with these people. Again, this is presuming that Sid is an actual person and not just one of David's other personalities. But I love the twist in the car ride where she reverts to herself and they're super surprised, like they didn't know that it wasn't David when he got in the car. So the way they're playing it, it's like the body swapping is a separate thing. All these other people in the car are real. They're not David's other personalities and are genuinely amazed at the idea that this is Sid. Like they didn't think that Sid got in the car. They thought that David got in the car. Number 5 is Carrie Loudermilk testing his abilities. This again also kind of flips you on your head, making you wonder who's real, who's fake, because Carrie Loudermilk talks to himself in the way that David does. So there are a lot of characters in the series that have the same sort of nervous tics that David has. So you're like, wait a minute, is this just another aspect of his personality? When he's in the machine, they also give you some more clues about other personalities. So he goes back to memories of Lenny. We remember he didn't really meet Lenny till he was in the psychiatric facility. So what I think is going on is that Lenny is another one of his personalities, and when his hair is all messed up, like Lenny's, that's when that personality is dominant. So when he's in the alleyway and Lenny is trying to get drugs here, talking to this Greek about killing himself, it's almost like one of his personalities is telling another personality to kill himself, but it's also the Lenny personality telling him to kill himself because he's so depressed about his girlfriend leaving him and not understanding what's going on. He doesn't understand his powers, so he has suicidal tendencies. So that's just more evidence that his personalities are talking to him, exerting influence on him. Lenny is just one of the more chaotic personalities that he has. And I love the idea of him high-fiving his own personality, like he's high-fiving himself in his own mind. But number 4 is the frog vaping. I love the way the frog's eyes light up, like it gets really psychedelic, and then they jump out as if they're watching that memory happen. So they're seamlessly transitioning between him being in his memories and them examining his memories. So they really want you to think that Melanie, Ptonomy are separate people. They're actually real. They're not alternate personalities. So that's another big idea. Hopefully they'll explain in later episodes whether or not David's different personalities are aware of each other and whether or not they can interact independent of David's normal mind. So you have like David Prime, you have his will, then you have the alternate personalities that each have their own memories and their own will too. Because in the comics, he can actually manifest them as physical people in the real world, but we don't know how trippy the series is going to get and how many characters will actually turn out to be alternate personalities, because it is a lot to ask of the audience, where like at the end of the series, if they're like, it was all in his head the whole time, I feel like a lot of people would be really upset by that. It's cool if a couple of the personalities are inside his head, but if everything is inside his head, then that would probably be bad. So you want to have Division 3 as this separate entity that exists in the real world, then you want to have a couple of these people that are talking to him be fake, then you want to have a good group that's actually real too. So number 3 is him talking about his father, the constellations. This is really cool X-Men Professor X stuff they're teasing here. So he talks about his father taking him to look at the stars. They lived in upstate New York, which conveniently is where Professor X's mansion is. They used to talk to me. I told my father about it, and he said that they would talk to him too. Now, what's the thing about Cerebro on X-Men is that when Professor X is using it, it looks like he's stargazing all the little people where he's telepathically speaking to all of them. So it's almost like they're saying that David was inside Cerebro as a child, but the way he explains it is that his father was helping him talk to his other personalities. He says that he's not supposed to repeat what those voices told him. They imply that there's some really dark voices that are telling him to do really bad things. The darker aspects of his personality, like you have the Sid people who seem like she might be fake, but really benevolent, trying to help him. But you also have the devil with yellow eyes, who might just be a darker aspect of his personality too. So I really like the way David is talking about his father helping him work through his personality problem, but it also sounds like he's standing inside Cerebro. So eventually they will tie this to the bigger X-Men universe, but that's more of a season 2 thing. So it does kind of feel like they're building up towards a Professor X type reveal. But you guys can let me know. When he's talking about stars, talking to the other personalities in his head, does that not sound like Cerebro? Number 2, cool action set piece. He gets really pissed off inside the MRI machine and just zaps it outside. The way this looks, this room, he didn't tear it through a wall. He literally teleported it outside the building. So they're getting really weird with the way his powers work, because that wouldn't be telekinesis. That would be something completely different. Melanie smiling here seems to imply that she's a real person. She's not a different personality of David's. But number 1 is the post-credits with his sister being taken by Division 3, getting ready to be interrogated because they're looking for David. It also seems like she's a real person too. So the big twist is when he sees her in the hospital trying to find him. There's no David here. We've never had a patient like that. He sort of manifests. That's him reaching out to her telepathically, trying to speak to her. The eye almost seems like he can tell that David's doing this, like, oh, I can see you using your powers. I'm going to take your sister so that we can track you down. So it was a really solid episode, but you guys can let me know, how many of these people do you think are different personalities of David's, and how many do you think are actually real? That's going to be the big question through every episode. What's going to happen next is I have new Black Panther, there's new Star Wars Episode 8, I've got some new Spider-Man, so I'll try to get that stuff out as fast as possible. But leave all your Legion questions in the comments. And I'll say congratulations to the new Logan giveaway winner, Alan Caddy. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. There was a new round in this video. I'll announce the winner the next time I post an X-Men Deadpool Logan video. While you wait for that, you can click here for the Thor Ragnarok teaser, and you can click here for the Logan WTF origin scene. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let's high five. I'll see you in the next video.